Hello, I'm going to read your chart for you. So this is your, the way it looks. I made a lot of notes on it. And so we're going to start off by looking at the lineage. So shamanic astrology always starts with the lineage, where the moon position is and the south node. So your moon is in Taurus and your south node is in Scorpio. So we'll call this a Scorpio job in the Taurus tribe. So this is what you already mastered, what you already were good at. These are traits that as a child, when you were born as a baby and, growing, you already had these specific skills mastered. So the Taurus tribe, your moon is in Taurus. Taurus loves to receive pleasure, loves to be really comfortable. Taurus is all about feeling good, eating things that taste good. So Taurus, likes clothing that feel and look good. Taurus likes to smell good. Taurus would spend extra money on things that bring pleasure to the physical body. So being that you already, this is like a master of receiving pleasure, a master of knowing how to receive. Having the Scorpio job, so you look at it sort of like this is the tribe and then there's a specialty. So your specialty was the one who brings out the shadow, the one who brings out the intensity, the one who brings out passion. So Scorpio job. Scorpio is the shaman, the mystic, the truth teller, the one who's able to go into the depths of, the situation, the depths of their self, the depths of anything, and draw out the power from whatever the situation is. So Scorpio is all about power and life force energy. So that's what you're a master of. That's what you already, coming into this life, you were already fearless and love to receive pleasure. So, fearless in making sure that you are happy, safe, and feeling good. Not safe so much. Scorpio doesn't care a thing about being safe. Scorpio actually is an edge walker. So safety doesn't even exist for them. They don't care about that. So I didn't mean to say the word safe. So that's the lineage. The next thing we look at is, and I'll show you how it looks on your chart. So the moon is over here in Taurus. And then what I'm talking about is your nodes. South node is over here in the 8th house, which is Scorpio. And so now we're going to talk about your new school, what you signed up for. And that's whatever's rising on the ascending. So this is what's rising. And let's see, you have, it's really interesting, you have for your new school, what you signed up for, Taurus job in the Taurus tribe. So this is, to me, I'm like, well, he liked Taurus so much that, when you're deciding to come back and incarnate into your next life, that you're like, yeah, I really love pleasure. I really love feeling good. I really love pampering my body, taking care of, I love physical bodies. So I'm going to do that again. The new school is just like when you sign up for school, it's someplace that you want to explore. I usually say it's something we don't know anything about, and that's why we're coming to learn about it. And this is where we make the most mistakes, because we are beginners. We're learning, but you're not a beginner. You already experienced what it means to be pampering and enjoying physical body and all the earthly delights. So there's still learning to do. So it's not like you know it all already. It's like you'll never know it all. And this time, who knows what it looks like the Taurus job and the Taurus tribe. It looks like, it's all about healthy receivership and experiencing the most amount of pleasure with the least amount of pain, or even I would say no pain at all. Some of the common mistakes, because even though you already were a master in the Taurus tribe, there's still going to be mistakes because we don't come in necessarily remembering every detail about how to do it right. We will make mistakes. So some of them are because we are looking for the most amount of pleasure with no pain. This is the Epicurean. Taurus will often indulge in things that bring pleasure. So too much sex, drugs, music, you know the story. It's like you're looking for pleasure, seeking pleasure, and so you get addicted. So Taurus is known for getting addicted to spending too much money, having too much sex, just this like taking, like want to keep whatever it is that feels good, they want more of it and more of it and more of it until some point, you understand that it doesn't actually feel good anymore. So then, the saying is like this: if one glass of wine, relaxes the body, makes the body feel good, but 2 glasses of wine give you a headache, Taurus will stick with 1 glass of wine because eventually Taurus learns to intensify the pleasure, maximize the pleasure, and find a way to have 0 pain. So yeah, there's a lot more we could talk about the lineage and the new school, but let's just keep it brief so I can get through some of the other things here. So old school, lineage, and we've covered what you're learning about. The next thing, let's talk about your masculine and your feminine. So you can just imagine that within you there's a masculine and a feminine. Although the yin and the yang, that the symbol of the yin and yang, they're one, it's one. And in each side, the feminine contains masculine and the masculine contains feminine. So when I'm going to talk about this like as if it were 2 different archetypes, but just know that it's actually one ball and we like alchemically mix all this stuff together to get you, or the whole. So we'll start with the masculine. So you have Aries and Mars and rising into Taurus, so learning how to be Taurus. So this is your male energy, Aries and Taurus. So Aries is the warrior. Aries doesn't really care about commitments, and they're not much of the I don't want to say the wrong words because parent, it's not like a parenting energy. It's a protector energy, but it protects whatever it is invested in. So I usually call this the bouncers of the tribe, or the firefighters, the policemen. This is the one who wants to maintain justice and order. We call Mars the sword you carry. So for a man, Mars is the sword you carry. This is the sort of masculine energy, is that of the protector for you. Then the feminine archetype is also in Aries, and the descending is in Scorpio. So the way that we usually will talk about this for a man is that wherever Venus is for you is usually the type of woman that you go for, the type of the feminine, the divine feminine that you're most attracted to. So just to look at this on your chart, they're not incredibly close. We wouldn't call this a conjunction, like they're not smack together, but they're both in the sign of Aries. Your Venus is actually bordering with Taurus. So we would still call it Aries, but it's still very close to this Taurus energy. So anyway, the way this works is that for a man, you'll usually project your inner feminine out onto the women in your life. So not just your girlfriend, wife, partner, lover, whatever kind of categories you put for your significant other. This can also project out onto your mother, sister, friends, female friends, even your daughter. So it's the way that you hold your feminine energy like 90%, I'll say 90, not 99, it's like 90% of men will project that out because they haven't quite learned how to own their own feminine, their own inner feminine, which you have. Everybody has both. So the way this looks, Aries, as a female, is the goddess warrior. It's like the Xena, you know, big, this, we call this the Amazonian. So the big, strong woman who is fearless, fierce, actually. Just a warrior goddess. So that's you. And we can also use some of the negative terms because a lot of times we'll project out the things, the sides that we don't like. So Aries can be very, not combative, but they don't go with the flow because they have their own mind and their own way they want to do things, and they're like very focused. It's fire. It's a fire sign. They're very focused and determined on what they want and what they're doing. So they're not very relational. So that can be interesting when you're starting to draw into relationships with women. Aries is not very relational. They're really focused on what they want, and they're fierce, they're competitive, and it's all about them. For Aries, it's the all about me thing. Those are some of the negative, or, you know, I won't call it negative because I think that those are very beautiful qualities as well. Aggressive, ambitious. It's a fight, like a fight kind of energy. Not saying like boxing fighting, but can be. But it's that, you get it. So projecting this onto the outer other, you also have Scorpio descending. So this is a kind of woman who's also very intense, very deep, very passionate, because Scorpio is passionate and deep, and Aries is also very passionate. Not deep so much, but very passionate. So the kind of woman that I can see you attracting, according to the paper, is somebody who strong-willed, aggressive, ambitious, intense and deep, mystic, almost like Scorpio is the shaman. So Scorpio would also, you know, draws life force energy, and also there's a humongous sort of sexuality with Scorpio, which I didn't mention before in your lineage. Scorpio job in the Taurus tribe, we can take that into a whole other realm. I'm not going to talk about any of that stuff in this reading. But for your inner feminine, Aries and Scorpio. So instead of projecting those things out, those traits out onto the women in your life, the idea is to start to own those for yourself. So feeding your male archetype and feeding your female archetype. So that usually just looks like, I don't know, if you have an imbalance, I don't really see it because of the fact that the Mars and Venus are both in Aries. It's probably not that big of a deal for you. I feel like you probably have it pretty, you're owning it, because I see you as an Aries. Like those are the qualities when I think about you. I see a lot of the Aries qualities. Like you are, to me, ambitious. You got your boundaries covered. Aries is really guarded, or they're the protector. So their boundaries are good, and it seems like you got that going on. Maybe owning some of the, you know, the Taurus and Scorpio part. So let's talk about that next, because it's, I won't say it's coincidence, but you also have more of this Taurus Scorpio energy on your, this is called the relationship axis. So whatever's rising, this is what you're learning about, the school that you've come to study, Taurus. On the other end of that, descending, is Scorpio. So we'll call this, who am I? The school of studying, who am I? What am I about? And this, who are you? So descending is like looking across the table and learning about the other. And the way that you're doing this, according to the paper, is in Scorpio realm. So you're, you know, you don't relate to people on shallow. You don't relate to people in a shallow way. It's like you want to know them and you want to get underneath the surface, and you sort of you're looking deeper. So relationship axis is Taurus and Scorpio. We call this the path of the Tantrika. So receiving the most amount of pleasure. I don't know how much you know about Tantra, but I also have the same relationship axis. So I've been, studying and learning about this myself because it's important to know and to understand, because this is what, the energy that we're learning about and what we're working with. So it really makes a lot of sense. And once you start to sort of learn about it, it's like, oh yeah, like we are already naturally attuned to this vibration. So I'll just tell you a little bit briefly about it here. The whole point, so the relationship axis answers the question, why on earth would I ever want to be in a relationship with somebody else? And not saying your best friend or your sister or your daughter. I mean, why would I want to be in a relationship with a woman? Like we call it the outer other. So this answers that question. And for this particular relationship axis, the whole point is to recharge the batteries. Means that when you interact with your outer other, you should leave that interaction feeling recharged. You should leave that interaction feeling like so this is relationship of Tantra, the path of Tantra. So bringing the life force energy from the sacrum, which is, the whole practice of Kundalini, and some of the other yogas are working on bringing life force energy from the base of the spine all the way up through the crown of the head, and experiencing, we call it samadhi, or there's a lot of different names for it. But basically, that's your whole point of being in a relationship. So next time you're in a relationship with the outer other, a woman, lover, partner, girlfriend, whatever you call it, the whole point is to experience life force energy, the most amount of pleasure with the least amount of pain. And you should be getting your batteries charged. You don't leave that relationship, you don't leave feeling drained. You feel resourced, and not from sucking energy, because that's what Scorpio can do a lot of times when it's not healthy, is suck energy from other people by, plugging in and just like, but this particular relationship axis, we're already attuned to cycling energy back and forth between the beloved. So, the relationship is a continuous flow. And if any time it stops, you talk about it or you do whatever your things are, but you can't stay stopped. You have to keep moving energy. Okay, so the next thing we'll talk about is what's on your midheaven. So you see we're covering the four corners here. What you're rising, descending. Now we're going to talk about your contribution to the world. That's called the midheaven. This is where you come up, like how you go out into the world and make your contributions. This doesn't necessarily mean career, but a lot of times people call this a career, but it's basically what you contribute to society, to mankind. We all have a deep need to contribute something to the world. And you have Capricorn up there, which Capricorn is the boss, the chief, the leader of the tribe. We call it the circle of grandmothers or grandfathers. These are the ones who are setting the precedent, setting the cycle for the next 7 generations. So you are a boss. Like you would never work for somebody, and you couldn't. It was never part of your plan. Your plan has been to be the boss and to make something that's sustainable for the next 7 generations. It's beautiful because I know your job and I know how you think and what, or not really, but I know what you care about as far as contributing in this way. So it's so beautiful. The next thing we talk about here is the Home and Roots Project, the IC. That's below the chart. This is something that nobody would know about you. Like the sun sign, everybody knows sun signs. It's like, oh yeah, he's a Pisces. And these are traits that we can see because of the sun flares over the whole chart. So the sun is our flair, our style, the way that we, it touches everything. So it is I call it the flair, because I also have Pisces sun. It's the way I do everything has a touch of love and compassion, and everything, that we've talked about for you so far has a flare of these universal love and compassion, the Piscean traits. But anyway, the home and roots, nobody would know this about you. This is you only would be able to, and somebody maybe in a really close relationship with you, but the way that you feel in your heart when the day is over, you're by yourself and you're in bed, and the most important thing in your home and roots project anyway, is feeling safe, feeling comfortable, and feeling nurtured. So you have Cancer in your home and roots. So Cancer is all about, we call this the good mother, good father, because this is the nurturing energy. So, within yourself, the most important thing is that you feel comfortable and cozy and safe. And so let's next talk about, so that's the four corners. That's what I would normally read in like a short version of the shamanic astrology chart. And then for you, I want to read a few more things. You see, I have all this other stuff that I've kind of circled and just wanted to talk about briefly. So let's start with Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet that is said to bring us from the lineage to the new school. The fastest pathway to enlightenment is through Jupiter. And so you have Jupiter in Sagittarius. So when I say that, I don't mean you need to leave your lineage. You don't need to. The lineage is always there for you. It's like what you're already good at. If you ever get stressed out, depressed, lonely, whatever, you would go back to doing Scorpio job in the Taurus tribe. Like that's your home base. If you ever feel overwhelmed or stressed out, doing something that feeds Scorpio and Taurus is going to bring you back to center and make you feel safe and comfortable and square one. So you don't need to leave that. But you do need to start to progress into learning more, studying more about your new school, which is Taurus job in the Taurus tribe. So perfecting this Taurus energy, getting better at it, and knowing some of the red flags, things to watch out for. Taurus wants to feel good, so watching out for how you overindulge in feeling good and overindulge in the main things: drugs, sex, rock and roll. Kind of like those are the main things that we feel good from, and just noticing that and seeing where to find that sweet spot, so you're not overdoing it and you're still honoring all the parts of yourself and what you came to learn about and what you want to know. Jupiter as Sagittarius says that in order to start to really evolve and to progress into your new school, you would want to do Sagittarius things. Sagittarius is the arrow, the archer. He's one-pointed, got a focus, and I feel like you do anyway. Like I feel like you're pretty dialed. Sagittarius is on an unending quest for truth. So constantly taking the new thing, studying something new, and I feel like you do that. You're always learning something, and so using that energy to keep propelling you toward your evolution. The other thing I wanted to talk about, you have Saturn opposing your ascending. So that's interesting, because you came to learn about Taurus, and you have Saturn, who is the teacher, looking directly across the way. So anytime there is this straight across, whatever it might be in, this is one of them. So it pretty much kind of polarizes the whole thing. So Saturn being the teacher, looking directly at what you're learning about, this tells me that you yourself are learning how to be a teacher, that you yourself are learning how to be a teacher. Also extra driven. Saturn gives us that drive. Like I have a Saturn complex. It's a different one. It's still, I have it straight across, but it's a little bit different than yours, because yours is actually more intense than mine, because you're learning. It's in what's rising for you. So it's already a place that you're learning about, and you have the teacher right there. Like it's almost like in India, when I would go to study, anything I've studied in India, you live with the teacher. Like in the teacher's house or in the teacher's hospital. When I study Ayurveda, I live in the hospital with the teacher, and this is kind of like that. Like, you're in a school and you're living with the teacher, like, at all times of the day. So this is the voice in the head who's like, you're tired? You don't want to go to the gym? I don't care. Get your ass up. You don't want to, you know what I mean? It's like that voice in your head who's giving you that drive all the time. So some people can get really bothered by that, because that drive can also tell you that you're not good enough, that you suck, your body's not right, this isn't right. And so it can be a drive to get better, because the thing is saying, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Come on. That's highly likely. I mean, I think we've all experienced that at some degree. So the idea is to get this voice, or to get the teacher to we start to work with it, and know that no matter how much we do, how good we do it, how perfect we are, it doesn't matter. We don't get an extra reward at the end when we die, and we don't get any extra rewards really in life either. Like, I don't know about how you feel deeply on the topic, but by me studying all the time, taking a course, learning, exercising, like, these are things that I care about a lot. At the end of the day, I'm just like everybody else, and actually they're having more fun. Other people are like doing, having fun and meeting people and hanging out, and I'm like, I gotta go to bed because I'm exhausted, and I'm gonna get up in the morning and do it again. So I like it. I actually like the way it feels. I know you do too. Like, I really like the way it feels to work my body to exhaustion and like work out, and I love studying and learning new things. And the trick is to understand that there's no reward for it, and to start to learn to love it because you love it and because it's fun. I think you probably already have got that dialed in, but just to make a point, that's really interesting that you have Saturn right across from your ascending. Oh yeah, the other thing. So Moon is in Taurus. You also have Chiron right here in Taurus. Chiron is the wounded healer. This always shows us where our fracture point is, so where our wounding is. And it's interesting because you have your Moon in Taurus as your lineage, what you already are good at. You're also learning how to do Taurus. So this is telling me that you're a master of receiving pleasure. You love it. It's great. You like to eat fancy things. You like to feel good. Having Chiron right there tells me that you have also maybe a wound, saying that there might be a part of you that feels guilty or feels bad or isn't allowing yourself to receive the full pleasure. Who knows why, but the wound eventually becomes the medicine. And so if there is a part of you that's like not okay for some reason about, and it could be also because finding that balance, like what is too much? What is too much? That it's not too much unless it starts hurting you or it's not pleasant anymore. As long as it feels good and you are able to accomplish all these other things that are important to you, and the other things are flowing. The addiction thing is what comes up for Taurus a lot, and addiction is a fracture. It is a wound. When we are addicted to something, it basically robs us of our life force, and it becomes what's in charge. And anytime that's an addiction, it's like, now I was doing the drug and now the drug is doing me. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about you and your drugs. I'm talking about Taurus overall, whether it is one of the things, it could be anything too. It doesn't have to be, drug, sex, rock and roll. It doesn't have to be those things. It can also be like addicted to exercising, addicted to playing chess, addicted to fancy cars, addicted to whatever. So having Chiron right there, is like, it's questionable about, is it an addiction thing, or where are you holding back from full receivership, and knowing the limits and the boundaries and how to play with that energy. Okay, I hope I'm not blabbering on too much, but I do want to just cover one more thing, which was you have a really interesting Pluto right across from Venus. So another one of those straight lines. Anytime there's a straight line, that's major. That's like a major thing that shows up for you for sure. So Pluto across from Venus. Pluto is just like Scorpio. Pluto is more intense because it's its own planet, but it has that scorpionic energy of, we call this the underworld actually. It's the place where we go to retrieve power. And it's across from Venus, which is your feminine qualities. So this could show up in a lot of different ways, but I'm going to put it on what I would see as the most obvious, which would be that projection onto your girlfriend, wife, lover, partner, because you're looking at the other, and it's way more difficult to do this within us, and eventually we have to, but initially it's the other. So she's too intense, or not enough, she's too exciting or not exciting at all. I think I might have heard you say a few times about the boring thing, like, I'm not interested. So that could be the extreme, is like, it's not interesting, it's not interesting, it's not interesting. So Pluto's right there, which wants to take you into the intensity and the passion for yourself, for you to be able to draw out your own intensity and passion. And Pluto being right there across, to me, my first thought is that it would be too much, that you're constantly seeing too intense, too much, But I haven't really heard you ever say that. So I'm going to read your chart like I haven't heard you say anything. So this would say that looking across at the woman, the female, and it could be within you too, that you're looking at your own feminine energy like, that's too intense, I don't like it, oh, here we go. So it's too much, I don't like it. So not being able to drop down into your own depths. So dropping down into your own source of energy and tapping into your own depths, because Pluto across from Venus tells me that there is an intensity to your feminine aspects. There is unbridled sexuality, intensity. Tantra, Scorpio is Tantra. Like Scorpio is the feminine that is wild. So that is something for you to look at for yourself. Like, where are you able to be comfortable with the raw, feminine, crazy, passionate woman or feminine energy? Yeah, let's just stop there. There's some more things I could read, but we're at 30 minutes and I don't want you to be bored out of your mind. So if you're interested, you can always ask me, and I'm love to talk to you.